Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of the Third Fleet Podcast. This is going to be episode 65, and with all the influx of news that we've been getting for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, me and Gaijin invited Arekkz to come along and join us for a little bit of a discussion. It does have to be a little bit of a smaller podcast because Gaijin's like dead from being like doing stuff all day. Arekkz also has like a lot of stuff that he's got to do. So it's just a very tiny window that I was able to carve out to get everybody together today. So how are you doing, Arekkz?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired, but I'm also good. Like a lot of this, the new stuff they've been showing has been super exciting. So I definitely feel like it's kind of like winding us up, like kind of building us up for Sunbreak and stuff. So I'm feeling the hype train now a little bit more.
Arekkz, who was literally uploading a hunting horn video right before we started this call.
It's true. I thought it was all organized yesterday. I was like, all right, cool. They're going to drop 3 a day. And then I saw like, there was the mix up where like they dropped it, but it was on the Japanese channel. I was like, oh, maybe they didn't mean to do it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to post it if they're not supposed to do it. So I was like, I'll wait. And then I went out for the day and I came back. I was like, oh, apparently they've decided they're going to post it. So now I'm behind.
At 1 in the morning. They posted it.
Yeah, Exactly. So I quickly made it just before this here podcast. So at least I know what the hunting horn changes are in case we decide to talk on them as well.
We can. I haven't seen them yet, but we can. But Gaijin,
that's the one I haven't seen yet.
Oh, it's cool. You guys will like it.
I mean, you know that something's going on with me when they drop a hunting horn video in Japan, and I haven't seen it yet.
True. It is true.
I was about to ask you, how's your journey to Omnicrafting going? Because that's pretty much all you've been doing recently.
I Carpenter 90. I've only got Leatherworker left.
Jesus Christ, dude! How many crafting professions exist? Because I don't even know this.
I don't even know.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
he's leveled all of them to max level. He's just like crazy.
But I'll tell you though, last night I was watching the Tonfa. The insect blade video.
It's actually magnetic spike. People tell me, not Tonfa.
Or one of the two. It's Frontier.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, but it looks cool.
In my video, people were calling it the magnetic glaive. It's been complete insanity.
I think we should just rename it Monster Hunter: The Hell with Physics. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm calling it like the insect glaive grappling hook because I love grappling hooks. So I'm just like it's like boom. But yeah, it is kind of like
you like sudden stop in the air. We'll talk about this in detail, but like that sudden stop in the air, the push forward, and just keeping that aerial combo. Like people who are saying, oh, it's no longer got like it's not unique because every weapon can do an aerial attack. Well, I think they're fixing that. So
yeah,
definitely.
The floor is lava.
Doubling down on the aerial for the insect glaive, which I think is a good thing. I actually meant to ask you, Arekkz, like, what do you think about kind of the direction that they're going on? Because like I feel that we've discussed how Rise is much faster than previous Monster Hunter games, obviously, and a lot of us expressed this desire. It's like, oh, can we slow it down a little bit? And Capcom's like, no, we're dialing up to like it's gonna go even faster in Sunbreak. It's gonna be even more hectic, and it definitely feels like the thing that we usually talk about, how the portable team is doing these experiential type of stuff, and then you have the mainline team that is doing the more traditional experiences whilst also cherry picking little bits like, oh, I like this thing. They just go to the buffet of portable and they're like, this thing's good, we'll take this thing. How do you feel about them just going monster may cry for Sunbreak essentially?
I honestly I love it, right? Because I think like it's definitely one of those things where I enjoy both experiences, but I feel like what they've basically done in Sunbreak is they're like, this is our vision, we're going to double down on it. And I'm like, 100% do that. Like, if you're going to go this far, go all the way. Don't be a halfway house. Don't be like, oh, we did it a bit in Rise, but then people weren't too much of fans, so we like slowed it down a little bit. And then it's like, well, it's not Rise and it's not traditional. It's like, just go full anime. They might as well have just called it a different thing. They should have called it like Monster Hunter Rise Alpha Remix Combo Sunbreak version 2.0 or something, right? But like, go full in. Go 100% anime mode. Like, people need to remember, again, as you said, 2 different teams. This doesn't mean this is the future of Monster Hunter. Every Monster Hunter is now Devil May Cry. It just means that, like, this is their vision, and let's have fun with it, because it is hella fun. Sure, you have this incredibly crazy mobility, and sometimes it does make fights, a little bit easier, but I've always kind of gone back to sort of saying before, like, I don't think I personally don't think Monster Hunter has ever like been like a super tough game anyway. I feel like there was a lot of artificial difficulty in the past that kind of created this image. But like generally speaking, like it's a fun game, and it's like they've got this really cool new mechanic. Like I love the crazy combo. Like it's like the same kind of thing was said when Generations came out, right? And people were putting in Hunter Arts, and they were like, "Oh, this is making it too easy." It's like, yeah, but it was fun. Like if it's fun, like I'm cool with that. And like if you don't like it, if like at the end of the day, if people don't like it, like you could just not use some of the stuff anyway. Like so, I like it.
Yeah.
Well put. That's how I feel as well. Like I made a tweet recently where I was like, I hope for the next like Monster Hunter 6 they go like Monster Hunter Origins, and we go into a little bit more dialing it way back, and then being like, okay, I want to see like the ancestor species of Tigrex. We have awesome art for a lot of those guys,
Yeah,
but the thing is like that's a whole new world that's more primal, more huntery. It's like, well, I hope they do that, But and then people are like,
really cool.
yeah, Rise was too fast. I'm like, no, this has nothing to do with Rise. Yeah. I think I'm really happy with Rise. Obviously, I love the game, and I love that Sunbreak is just like putting the pedal to the metal, because that's the
I was just
way to do it, right?
I was saying it's the age-old internet thing where you like apples, and you're like, I can't believe you hate oranges. Like I didn't say that. I just said I like apples. Like you hate oranges. You
Clearly
are an orange hate. It's like. No.
For all I know, this is going to be my favorite flavor of Monster Hunter. I don't know.
Yeah.
They keep upping it every single game, so it's like I can't tell you what my favorite is because I love them all.
Yeah. When you said that,
I can tell you one thing though. I do not like grinding for armor in the older games. I've done that recently, and it was a heck of a lot more painful than my memory allowed me to remember.
Grinding for armor?
Forever. To get Yuna, the Sedegio's G rank armor and weapon took, I want to say, 12 hours. It was a long journey because you have to start all the way from low rank.
Oh, wait. Yeah, but it's like you're starting at low rank.
No. I mean, we were in G3. We're like, okay, let's make her the Sedegio set. But it's like, even once you get into the upgrades into G, it's like, okay, well, we have to kill it 7 times to get the rest of the talons. An additional 5 more times to get its head. Like, it was just brutal. It was fun, but it was like, man, we were pooped after that. We're like, all this work for one set.
I think the reason why you feel a little bit burned out by that is because you've already done it, and in GU's case, didn't you do it like twice?
Probably 3 or 4 times, yeah.
Yeah, you've done this 3 or 4 times. You've done this grind 3 or 4 times. It's like, I don't want to go back and grind Guiding Lands all over again either, and it's a lot easier now because I've already done it once. I don't want to go back and grind Kolv to Roth, but it's because I've already done it. Then again, Kolv to Roth, there's other reasons why I wouldn't want to go do that. But when you were talking about going back to primals, I was thinking about I think you've even talked about it in some of your videos, or you've shown it to me in one of the old artworks. Those primal dragons, like the proto form of Rathalos or something, and then how Tigrex was one of the first ones. I forget, something like that. That could be an opportunity.
There's the Wyvern Rex, right? And they have all these like extinct species that are amazingly cool. And it's like that would allow them to bring in a whole bunch of new monsters, because I kind of feel at this point they need to up the roster for the next big game. I think that we've had so many games coming out. We've been blessed with so many games that they're starting to feel like, okay, I think Tigrex needs to take a seat for a game, which I don't like 100%. To say. It's just because we keep seeing them, and it dumbs down the impact of the monster. And so if we get to start seeing a lot of new monsters, and instead of being like the majority being returning, that would be pretty sweet.
I mean, it's the same. Like, I definitely agree with you, because I think it's the same. It's the same kind of problem, for example, that like Pokemon has, right? You think about the first few Pokemon, go from Red, then you went to like Gold, and you're like, it was almost all new Pokemon. It was like fantastic for a while, and then so many of the new ones come around, where like you have so many returning ones that it's like you have to go looking to find the new ones. And I feel like to a degree we've kind of, and again, like, I still love it. Like, this isn't me saying I don't like the game. Like, I absolutely love Monster Hunter. It's still one of my favorite franchises. But like, I definitely find that you get to the point now where you look at it and it's like 70% like existing monsters and like, a few new ones here or there. And like, I definitely want to see a game where it's like, I mean, almost no. Like, I wouldn't care if I didn't see Rathalos at all. If it's just like all new monsters.
No, Rathalos has to be there.
As you.
It's part of his contract.
No,
It's true. It's true.
he is not on the logo anywhere. That's Rathian, so he's not. He's
on a
owned.
stipend, dude. It's part of his contract.
It's true.
It's Rathian. She's the one who has to be, because she has to get beat up by somebody. It's like a staple at this point.
Capcom goes and they're like, okay, Rathalos is not going to be in the last game. He just like storms out the door. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. How dare you?
Oh,
well, that's why if you do it like Monster Hunter Origins, you say, you weren't born yet, brother. So like, it's not like we're cutting you. It's just this is before your time. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But
story armor can only protect you in the area in which you are alive.
With all of this chatter that we are having right now about new monsters, it kind of makes me wonder, like, Arekkz, you've also noticed kind of the shift in marketing that they've done. Like, I believe at this point in the Rise marketing cycle, they had shown a lot more monsters, and this time they haven't. Like, how do you feel about that? Because, like, both, at least I'm in the camp of don't show anymore. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
The monsters that you've shown so far, that's it. The problem is that then you have people that genuinely believe, so that's it, 9 new monsters. They don't get it. I've even made a video talking about this. People still don't get it. It's so weird.
No, it is. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It definitely it's weird. Like 100%, there's clearly going to be like more than that, but it's one of those weird ones where, I mean, it's strange because, again, it kind of goes back to the same thing with like Pokemon. Like I liked it back in the day where like you didn't know what Pokemon were in the game. You walk into the grass and you're like, what the hell is this? You know, whereas like now you know every single Pokemon before the game comes out. And to a degree, it is the same with Monster Hunter. Like in the previous games, it was like, I think we knew almost all of them bar the final bosses and maybe like 1 or 2 monsters. So I definitely like, I do hope it genuinely is one of those things where it's just like, there is lots of kind of cool stuff that they just are keeping secrets, and then we'll find out ourselves, because there's nothing better than being like, oh, what's the name of this quest? And you scroll over to it, you're like, I recognize that icon, or like, what is this icon? You know, I like those kind of things. But yeah, I hope it is definitely they're just doing that, and maybe they're letting the hunters shine more, because they're like, oh, the big thing here is like the new Switch skill swap. We'll kind of put the hunters front and center, and then let you experience the monsters. I know there's obviously the one angle people often say is like, oh, maybe if they're not showing too many, like, does that mean there aren't going to be that many more? But you know, like ultimately you don't know that thing. But I genuinely think it's just like they're just letting the hunters shine, because I feel like if you show too much, if you're like new monsters, new mechanics, new hub, new this, like what do I focus on? So yeah,
for sure. So out of all of the, go ahead, Gaijin. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say like I just figured if we're talking about the marketing strategy, as at least as from the perspective of a consumer, and how we feel about how they've been marketing Sunbreak, because it is drastically different feeling than the marketing they've done in the past for games. I know, Ruri, you're in the camp that's you'd rather not know anymore, and it's fine. You're already sold. You're like, just let me be surprised. I don't like the marketing direction at all, to be honest, but that's for a few reasons. One, I like long hype trains. I love it when the community comes together and we theorize about stuff, and we have stuff to, you know, little juicy tidbits here and there to play around with. So I enjoy that 5-month window of marketing. I also, like I said, I rather learn about a monster in a cool curated video or direct than to just see it posted on my timeline on Twitter or on a thumbnail on YouTube, because that's going to happen. So it's like, well, you may as well curate it and go out with a bang, you know, and announce it. So I don't know. There's just something about their marketing campaign this time that just feels so. It's like they cut the budget for the marketing or something. I don't know. It's weird. Like even like the direct we just had, I really loved it, and everything they showed is great. And I'm kind of breaking my own rule about judging something based upon what you wanted versus what you got, because what we got was a 10 out of 10. I loved it, but I'm kind of like, why was it so short? Why didn't they do some more hands-on? Why don't they talk about it? Why are they so stiff in their, and now we have a trailer? It's like, guys, you guys are making one of the funnest games in the world. Like, start laughing and joking and have a more casual, longer form marketing piece where you show us the game and you're running around instead of just showing us the same clip of them running up the castle wall, you know, 8 times in a row. It's like, just run around the game and show us, like, be casual about it. Come on, guys. I don't know. Maybe they're just really busy because they're finishing the game. And it's obviously game development in 2022 is tough. So maybe that's what it is. But I I don't know. I would like a longer, more open, less. I don't know. There's something about the marketing campaign. I feel that what they have is a gem, and I just don't feel like they're selling it enough, and being like, dude, check this out.
I'm not necessarily like against having more information revealed. I just don't want more monsters. I want to be surprised by monsters. Like I want to be able to take on a quest and be like, oh my God, this monster is here. This is awesome. Cause like I already know that when the game comes out, I'm going to be avoiding most stuff on YouTube for a long while because, like same thing as with Elden Ring. Everybody was a million different things on it. It was like, no, stop. I don't want to see anything. I want to see it in game eventually when I see it. And it makes for a cooler experience. But like the whole thing about weapons, like Arekkz was saying, making the hunters shine more and showing all of the different change skills and whatnot. That is actually interesting. And that's been really cool to kind of analyze. Like, looking at the insect glaive video yesterday, I was like, dude, what is going on? This is insane. And then reading the quest descriptions and the different changes that it does is really, really cool.
I can't 100%. Wait to throw my Kinsect at people. That's going to be fun.
Yes.
Can we all agree that we need to call that skill the Kinsect Yeet?
Yes.
Yes. It has to be.
Let's also all agree that the insect glaive users will now become the new greatsword user, where they will miss all of those throws every time, but they will still do it. They'll be like, "Yes, here we go." No, every time, and they'll waste all their jellies.
Put the F in the chat, right? It's like, oh, poor insect just really nailed on that honey bush.
Oh dear.
So with the, we haven't had you in a podcast for a while, so I'm wondering, out of all of the new monsters that were announced, which one's your favorite, Arekkz?
I think Garangon. I think he reminds me of Rajang. He's got the kind of I definitely, from an armor point of view, Lunagaran. I like Garangon armor, the way it looks, but I don't normally wear the bulkier armor. So I like Lunagaran armor because it looks like a cyberpunk Power Ranger. But Garangon as a monster, because it's I like monkeys anyway. They're just my favorite animal species anyway. And then it's just like a giant gorilla. And I like Rajang, I like Blangonga. There's a lot of kind of things that I think of when I see that one. And just the sheer scale of it. It actually looks pretty massive. So I'm quite looking forward to fighting that one.
Yeah. Gaijin, I don't remember if I've asked you this or not, because everything is a blank in my mind over the last couple of months.
I mean, for me, it's a boring answer maybe, but I actually think it's Malzeno. I think the flagship this time is amazing. I mean, they're always amazing, but even more so. I mean, I'm sorry, Magnamalo, you're cool, but Malzeno just takes the cake for me. Plus, I've got a soft spot for that sort of medieval Western, fantasy vibe, and so its theme song already has me entranced, and seeing the variety of moves it can do. It looks like I'm not worried about Malzeno keeping up with the hunters. I'm a little worried, and actually even Garen Gollum, I'm not scared about either, because that thing is just massive and fast. So I'm not worried about those guys, which is good. But Malzeno, there's something about it that I like.
It's a very cool design.
I think I would be a little bit worried if I was still planning on having Switch as my main platform, but having been playing on the PC for the last couple of days, dude, they are so much faster and react to you so much faster. There's no way anybody will convince me, no, Rurikhan, there's absolutely no difference. You crazy. You're freaking crazy. I've been getting hit by stuff that I've never been hit on the Switch ever. Forget about it. It's way faster. But even still, I am concerned because they are upping the ante with some of the different moves. For instance, if you guys watch the Sword and Shield one, really showcased, in my opinion, the potential for the dodge move, because basically they do what's it called, destroyer oil, whatever the oil that you're getting. I think it's destroyer oil. So they do destroyer oil, and then immediately after they switch skill swap into an evade to position at the head. And then they bash it, and then Shoryugeki, I was like, dude, that is cool. Awesome.
I cannot wait to see the speedrun community and the creative stuff they're going to be able to pull off. Or what's his name? Sunhee Legend?
Sunhee Legend.
The best GIF maker in the world.
Yeah.
I get to see those. Oh my God, it's going to be such a treat.
They're going to be They're gonna be so good. Yeah, it's definitely like it's almost like it's super exciting, but almost in like a really daunting way as well, because it's like there's just so much stuff now. It's like trying to, because you already sort of think about your combo flows weren't exactly like super complex before, but like you already think about your combo flows, and suddenly like there will definitely be some things that are, you know, we won't know until testing, but you know, like you look at some of the ones from the showcases, like that we're not just getting new Silkbinds, we're also getting new switch skills, which obviously change some combo flows. So like if we've spent all this time learning like a bread and butter combo and it's muscle memory baked into our mind, I feel like I'm quite excited for the prospect of potentially needing to like relearn things and be like, well, this isn't your best combo anymore. I'm like, oh my god, I need to reprogram everything. So it's yeah.
And how it's shaping up to be the most mechanically complex Monster Hunter, I think.
Yes,
and that's exciting.
And how excited!
But I don't know how we're gonna make videos on that. Or like, now how do I explain that in 20 minutes or less, or 15 minutes or less? It's like, oh my god.
That's
if
exactly
anything that excites me, actually.
Go ahead.
No, if anything that excites me, because the reason why I've always loved tutorials is that it's super. You don't think it's that complicated until you start listing it out, and then you start scripting, and you're like, oh my god, there's that much I have to cover. Like, it's really simple because we use it, but it's like to like
explaining
the person who hasn't and explaining it, it's like, oh gosh, what order do I go in here? And so like I'm really excited for that type of puzzle. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube for me. It's like, how do you shuffle that information in a way that you personally can understand it, and then put out it. So I can't wait to see all of you guys. I can't wait to see your interpretations of the weapons, and like, because I think it's cool. Like when you go into a tutorial, you get to see how that person digests the info, right? Because that's why all your guys' videos are great, is because you're putting it out in a way that makes sense for you. And so there's a consistency there, and it's very interesting to see like, oh, he's jumping straight into that. Like, it's so different and so fun that I think it's going to be a good challenge for us.
I was going to ask Arekkz, like, how excited are you about, like, because you just said I'm super excited about these combos. How excited are you about putting those into a weapon workshop?
Well, I'm not doing weapon workshops anymore. Because we put out a video a little while ago. Like, I mean, basically just the last series. We only did half of them Rise, and like kind of just massively burnt me out. So like we'll still provide like helpful content. I just need to work out a different format, because the format, I know people liked it, but it's just too much work. I mean, with every single one of those videos taking like upwards of like 30 hours, and like tons and tons of editing and research and stuff, like it literally just like takes a massive toll. And the reality is, like, as much as some people will enjoy the whole granular nature of like, oh, you've just shown me absolutely everything this weapon can do, the reality is that most people only need a fraction of that. They're just like, maybe if you're someone that like is super deep into the game, you're like, I want to know everything. But most people are just like, I want to pick up this weapon. I want to know very quickly how I can do some cool stuff. Please show me. So we will definitely do some stuff to help people. But yeah, the weapon workshop format in its what it was in the past, it was definitely a retired thing.
Well, good work on those. Those were great.
Yeah, those.
If you guys haven't seen those, you should go back and watch. They're really cool.
Those were friggin' awesome. I was always like, I remember that. I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but I remember the day that I did my Charge Blade video in Monster Hunter World. I was so scared of posting it because you posted yours immediately before mine, and I was like, damn it. Oh, no. I'm so screwed. I'm going to post this video and everybody's going to like dump on me and tell me my video is bad because Arekkz's video is bad. No. But it turns out that
I've always liked the kind of organic way that you kind of approach yours, because like as Gaijin was saying, like we all have different ways of doing this, and like yours is sort of like, yours is almost like I kind of describe yours more sort of like a storytelling way, like it's like you kind of talk people through the whole thing, whereas like I've always tried to sort of like, I've tried to cut it short, but then it just makes it confusing sometimes in my head. But yeah, it's like we all have a very different style, which I think works really well, and it then means you can watch everyone's videos and you can still glean something from all of them.
Yeah, I definitely felt like some people prefer your format, whereas other people prefer mine, and this way everybody kind of like gets served with
exactly,
whatever they enjoy. So yeah, I think
that's what I love about this community. It's like the more the merrier when it comes to creators, because
100%.
Like, oh, someone's already covered this. I'm like, even better. Like we've got another perspective. Like that's great. Like
I've always found that like in the YouTube thing, not just in Monster Hunter, just in general. Like obviously I've covered like many games before. Like I've always found that it's always funny. Like if you get the occasional troll comment, it's like, oh, someone's already done this. It's like, yeah, well, yes, because it's in the game and it's a mechanic, and therefore as a creator, I'm also going to speak about said mechanic. It's like, just because you've spoken about a greatsword doesn't mean you own the greatsword. Like
what's also great is there's a synergy there as well with the algorithm where you're helping to increase the fact that it's a topic. So the original video is going to get more views. You're going to get more views. It's a win-win for everybody, and people learn more about the weapons. So
Yeah.
Because
good stuff.
Stuff ends up getting like listed closely together as well. So like you'll watch my video and Arekkz's will show up, vice versa.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember being so frustrated is like I used to use a thing to like help me put tags on videos. I don't use that anymore.
Yeah.
And every time that I would make a Monster Hunter video, the most recommended tag would always be Arekkz Gaming. Every time, most recommended tag, Arekkz Gaming. I was like, okay then. Dominating that algorithm. But
I do have a YouTube trick for you guys if you don't use it, which is I have on my Memo app a thing that it's called tags, and it's just a list, and I've pre-made tags for every game or category of video that I'm making because they're just comma separated. And if you write if you write out all your stuff with commas, you could just copy and paste it right into the tag, and it'll make them all separate tags. It's nice. So I just do that, and at the end I'll just put in the initials for like what weapon it might be or something. So any of you new YouTubers out there, that's the way to do it.
Dude, YouTube has an even better function now, which is there's literally a button on top of every video which says reuse details. It just copies the entirety of another video, and then you just like change up a couple of things. Like all of these weapon showcases that I'm reacting to, like I do that for all of them. It's just like, okay, reuse the exact same thing. Now swap sword and shield for hammer. Boom, done.
Nice.
It's good stuff. But yeah, do you guys also believe that Malzeno's weapon is going to have basically health regen like Monster Hunter World?
I wasn't sure whether like potentially that, or I was hoping it might have like an interesting interaction with like maybe not the weapon. I was wondering whether like, the armor set might have an interesting interaction whereby obviously like there's the whole like health battle thing where when you've got the blood blight, like you're trying to sort of fight to get it back. I wonder whether there might be like a benefit of obviously when you're in red health portion, like it'll basically lean into that. Like it might be a thing where you can almost give yourself blood blight using the armor set, and then suddenly you can like get damage boost from there. So I'm hoping they like really lean into that. So maybe like a regen mechanic or like something like that.
Yeah, there's lots of different options. I'm thinking now that you're mentioning it, like you could do a thing where like sort of like the Rise Assless weapons, like the combo thing where like after you get aggressive and you've hit enough times in a row, maybe it like glows and it's sucked life force, and then you get raised affinity or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
I want the ability to summon little flying gigs, though. I want little gigs flying around me.
Can't have that. That's a different weapon. That'd be the insect glaive. You can get one with the insect glaive. They'll let you buy a kinsect that's like a little flying Giginox. That's it.
Imagine if you get a few though, and then you throw the kinsect, and they all just go.
Zoom. It's a little swarm.
I just had the most cursed thought, and I'm going to share it because I don't want to be the only one with a cursed thought here. So I'm going to poison your heads as well. I'll just say, what's that thing on the internet? The rule, whatever, that everything
34?
is sexualized.
34, rule 34.
Okay.
Rule 34 on the flying giggies. Uh-oh.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, no.
Hey, if I had the thought pop in my head, now you guys have to live with it, too.
You're an evil
one.
one.
They're going to be the next thing on the Hunter's pub. It's good.
You're a very evil one, Gaijin. Jesus Christ, what the hell? Because like the first,
it's just like the movie. What's it called? Like Teeth, isn't it? Is it called Teeth or whatever? Never mind.
It's like because the first thing that comes to mind is like the teeth. Is like no, dude, no. That's the last thing you want. Oh man. How do you feel about the new subspecies that we've gotten with Aurora Somnicanth and Magma Almudron? Because like I don't know if Aurora Somnicanth is it, because Somnicanth feels like a very kind of like ignored monster all around with Rise.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see. I mean, maybe I don't know whether like I would have defaulted to like an ice one, but like I like the fact that Somnicanth is coming back in a capacity, because I feel like of the new Rise monsters, apart from like Goshalag, which I think was my favorite, like like Somnicanth was definitely one that I really liked. I liked the design for it. I liked the way that it moved, attacked and stuff. But it was, as you say, like a pretty low tier monster that once you get to the end, I mean, you can still get some use out of it. Like it had some fun, like sleep stuff on the armor, but generally speaking, it didn't really get much attention. Yeah. So I like the fact they're bringing it back to give it like a second run. I don't know whether I necessarily would have done like an ice one or maybe done something different, but I'm definitely glad I used to get to fight that monster again. Almudron as a monster was cool, right? Loved the design, it was super cool, but it was also just like sometimes a pain to fight, and I feel like they've just taken Almudron, combined it with Lavasioth, and we just made like two painful monsters. And I'm just like, listen, right, if that ball on its tail does like the hardening thing that Lavasioth does, I'm gonna hate this monster. I'm gonna be bouncing left, right, and center. I don't want to fight it.
Listen, let me tell you about this skill that they have in Rise. It's called Mind's Eye.
Hey, I don't want to have to jam in to fight this damn monster.
I agree. I don't think that's necessarily good. But it's like I think Magmalmadron is actually the more interesting of the two, but it's whatever.
I want to see them do. I hope they flip it where you get monsters that were like low tier in the original game. I want to see their subspecies be high tier. Like they sort of did with Tobikadachi was a pretty low tier monster in the world, beast. And they made it a good beast in Rise. Yeah. I want to see them take freaking Acnosom and Somnicanth, and I want them to be like G3. I want them to be like back end monsters that are just gonna go absolutely wild. Like when I think it's Somnicanth in the ice, the levels that I want them to push it is like think Arc Fiend? Arc Tempered Velkhana with like the huge ice spells that it's almost like a puzzle. You have to know where to go. And I'll be the addict and say that yes, Final Fantasy kind of does that and it's inspired me. But I want to see Somnicanth start doing some arena-wide crazy things and make it a hard monster. I think that would open up more appreciation for it because it's a cool monster.
Yeah. So Arekkz followers, how do you feel about them?
Wait. You don't ask a YouTube creator about how he feels about followers.
I was like, wait a minute, what's that? Now I get it. I actually really like it. You know,
like, how do you feel about your subscribers? No,
they're the best in the world.
Subscriber quests.
So I imagine that. Yeah, that'd be. No, I think it's a really cool system. Actually, honestly, I think like again, like more player choice. Like it kind of reminds me of Guild Wars back in the day, because like, you know, when you used to play like MMOs, obviously you normally need to like fight on your own, but Guild Wars 1 had a system where you could literally bring NPCs with you, which is like for MMOs generally speaking unheard of. It's like, you don't have friends? Tough. Whereas now it's like, it's fine, bring them with you. So I actually really like the system. Yeah, I think you know, because a lot of the time NPCs, you know, you speak to them in the story, you know, they're like, oh yeah, go out on this quest, and then like occasionally they might be like, yes, we did it together. It's like, well, I mean, I didn't see you anywhere, but like, sure, yeah, we did it together. Because like now it's like, yeah, but like now we're actually doing. Exactly. I mean, partly that, but even like you think about, say, end of when it, or like I forgot what was it, when it was like Sharish Valor, and obviously the whole team's there and like, yeah, we did it together. It's like, I mean, technically, yeah, but I didn't see any of you guys actually backing me up. Whereas like now you actually get to fight with them, and I think it's super cool. Like, you know, you get to really, and like their loadout seems to sort of embody their personality. Although I know one of the clips seems to suggest like you can change their loadout, because we've seen like Theorain using Sword and Shield and Charge Blade. But yeah, I just like it. I think like you're probably gonna get like a better sort of feel for them. And yeah, it's cool.
I just hope that they do what we were discussing last time, which is like let them have like in-game achievements where like you go on X amount or you do things with them, that at the end of their line, so to say, if you've committed to playing with them and doing your things, that then you earn their outfit or the right to make their outfit. That would be super cool, because then you can look at the hunter and be like, okay, that guy loves Minoto. Okay, that's a Fiore fan. All right.
I would actually love it if you would eventually be able to unlock them to play with you in the village quests, even though I don't think that's a thing. I think that their quests are going to be very specific. They even, in the website, they even say something like follower collab quests, whatever. I think it would be cool if you would be able to, again, it should be a choice, because, you know, there's those players that they don't even bring Palicos or Palamutes because they want to be able to perfectly predict every move of the monster. And I think that's fair. But I think that it would be cool if it was an option. If somebody wants to be able to do those quests, like, hey, I want to have Fiorane with me when I do a random village quest. Like, I think that'd be fine. and I think it'd be a cool
just
addition.
scale it up a little bit.
Scale it up, yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely need to scale it up because otherwise it would be way too easy.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how good their the AI is as well, because sometimes you go into games, it's like, especially considering Monster Hunter's quite a complex game in terms of all the combos and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how dynamic they are in combat, how whether they will be, because they've obviously said they'll also heal you and stuff. So I wonder whether they'll be a little bit more passive, run in, do a few hits, and then go out. Or they seem to have been pretty good in the trailer. They're getting on monsters and they're kind of going in and stuff. But obviously those are super cut clips, so it'll be hard to see. I'm interested to see basically how good they actually are.
Consistent.
Because I saw a comment. I'm sorry, Ray.
In I was just gonna say, in the trailer, you actually see Furain straight up land 2 Metsus, and you're just like, "Whoa, hey, that's what I like to see." But go ahead, Gaijin.
No, there's I saw a comment saying that, because I'm not familiar with the game, but Monster Hunter Frontier apparently had a similar feature where they had NPCs that could fight with you.
I think it was ducks. That's why Sephiroth is so obsessed with the ducks, is because you would be able to take those ducks with. No, I think there might also be NPCs, but I think at the start it was ducks.
But what I'm thinking about is, if Frontier already had a mechanic where they had a system for AI to fight with you, and now that Frontier has been dissolved, if it's really good code, then we could rest easy because they could probably port that code over, that AI system.
Maybe
I just don't know, because I never played Frontier, so I don't know how well it was, and if that means we can rest easy or not. Because I'm starting to feel the Frontier elements in this game. I'm guessing that some of those team members must have came over because they are just going bonkers. And I kind of hope that they just do a trailer where they're like, "Okay, guys, we're not talking about the hunters this time. I'm going to show you all the new ways that monsters are going to kick your butt," and just focus on the monsters. That would be fun.
I definitely want them to up the ante on monsters. They need to for monsters to be able to keep up with us, for sure. Because it's going to be, when you add all of the crazy things that we're getting with the Silkbind swap thing and the Silkbind evade on top of it, and it doesn't even cost anything. It's as far as I can tell, there's no cost to switch skill swapping. You just swap and you get this crazy evade. So I'm even looking at it as a Gunlance user, because me sheathing my weapon is like a seasonal event, right? You do it, and then, I start sheathing my weapon during summer, and then I'm about done when winter comes around. I'm sheathing throughout the entirety of autumn. But the being able to just, I'll just pop this and dodge away. It doesn't even matter if I need to switch skill swap. I can just use it for, I'm getting out of here. Bye. Because it's.
I just thought of the most ridiculous anime solution to all this, which I hope they don't do, but I think the thought was funny to have in my head. So to replace the flying Giggies, I will give you a good thought. Imagine you are a Charge Blade user charging up for a big hit. You swing down at Tigrex, and all of a sudden he goes, ching, and you see a switch skill. He flies out of the way, and all of a sudden he's a brute Tigrex, and he does a huge roar and kills you.
That would be amazing.
Let them swap between the main and the subspecies.
It's like Monster Hunter tag team. It's like, yo, I need some backup.
I was thinking, when you said that, I got the idea in my head where you just start hearing a music going dun 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 dun. What's this? Tigrex is evolving. It just transforms into a brute Tigrex. I don't know. There's just the pause, and you just start hearing the Pokemon tune. Dun 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 dun.
Wait, I thought you were giving me the tune for the Dragon Lord from Dragon Quest.
It's the Pokemon evolution music. It goes like dun 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 dun. That'd be so bad. But speaking of switch skill swapping, where do you stand on that one, Arekkz?
I like it. I think it's super cool. Again, it's the same sort of thing where we need to kind of get a feel for, whether it is just like a free thing, like if there's any sort of cost involved. But I kind of sort of hope, at least just the swapping, I hope it's just like a free thing anyway, because when you put in that new mechanic, you want to be able to use it. The idea is, from the way that they sort of seem to have marketed it, is it's supposed to be nice and free flowing. It's you're doing stuff, you're supposed to swap on the fly. I think that's the thing that I like as well. They've really, really sort of pushed this whole swap evade and do it properly in motion. It's not about just stand still, swap, I'm gonna go in and pre-planned. You know, the idea is that you're supposed to be like react and be like, okay, I can do this quickly. So I think it's super cool. I think just like give me more movements, more dynamic stuff. Like I'm gonna wrap my head around it.
So I was just writing down something dumb. I was like, say it 10 times fast. Like, you know, in this game, you can switch from switch skill swap scroll set 1 to switch skill swap scroll 2 for new switch skills and Silkbind attacks on the Nintendo Switch.
Yes, and if you make it for the Switch axe, you can also add a couple of more switches in there as well.
Oh my goodness.
It's complete insanity. So, Gaijin, you are usually a lance main. Now we've gotten to see more abilities from other weapons. I mean, you weren't a lance main in Rise, I felt like. I don't even know what your main weapon was in Rise at this point because you kept changing around.
Yeah, the concept of main is kind of lost on me at this point. I almost purposely pick a different weapon every time I go into a hunt just for variation. But I would say, if I had to say what my mains were, so to say, like the ones I came back to a lot, I would say Sword and Shield became my endgame main.
You mean Shield and Sword?
Or the Shield and Sword. The occasional sword. I mean, it was there as a just to look cool. But I love that. And also probably Insect Glaive. I don't know. I'm thinking now, and then Switch Axe was my, or Switch. I can't. I'm confusing Japanese names, and I can't remember now.
It's called Switch Axe. Yes.
Okay, good. So Switch Axe. Sorry,
Gaijin's is legitimately sleep deprived, guys. Out of his own volition, mind you.
Charge Axe, Charge Blade. Ugh. But yeah, I would say like the Switch Axe, Insect Glaive, Sword and Shield, and probably Hunting Horn. And then for Rampage, it was like Bowgun, of course.
Yeah. Just as one would
those
expect.
were kind of like my meat and potatoes. And
what
I'm
are you
looking
looking
at Insect
for
Glaive now, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What are you looking for in Sunbreak? And you're going for that Insect Glaive. Insect Glaive is looking really spicy. It's my longest reaction / analysis video because I talked a lot about Kinsects because I know that, you know, anybody that doesn't play Insect Glaive is going to be like, Kinsects? What? It's like, what are Kinsects? People need to know that back in my day, if you messed up feeding your Kinsect, you'd ruin your whole weapon. That's the way.
It's true.
You could ruin a weapon by feeding the wrong things to your Kinsect.
Yeah, so what I will actually do throughout the majority of Master Rank, I have no idea yet. Which is a good sign. Every time they bring out weapon videos, you're like, oh my god, that's going to be my new main. Oh my god, no, that's going to be my new main. Oh no, that's going to be my new main.
I feel like so far, Hammer has got the shortest end of the stick. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it is a hammer. Doesn't have a very...
So no, I definitely agree. Like, yeah, it looks like a little. It's a weird one. Like Hammer, like I love Hammer. Like Hammer was one of my original mains back in like Freedom Second. But like I just so I've used it like consistently through many games. But like in Rise, there were some interesting things. Like obviously with the whole like strength darts and stuff. But I definitely feel like it got a little bit shafted. And like there's the new move. It sounds interesting. I think it's one of those things we need to like see in practice because it definitely sounds a bit like. I mean, Hammer basically just got Destroyer Oil, but it's just like less exciting on the hammer than it is the
but the hammer already had a switch skill, so now it's got 2. So the combinations are going to be bonkers between the yellow and purple. I don't know if you guys used. I used it a lot, and that was way too good of a move. Was swapping over between red and purple and getting an instant level 3 charge, like just
the instant charge is nice. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the one thing that we've learned from the Insect Glaive is that you will definitely have more than 2 switch skills for certain slots, because with the showcase that they've shown, you get 3 switch skills, which is the Recall Kinsect, Diving Wyvern, and I forget one of the other Kinsect. It's either the Kinsect Yeet or the Kinsect Advance. I think it's the Kinsect Yeet, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. So definitely you're going to have a lot, at least more than 2 choices, but we'll see how.
Yeah, I do kind of want to force myself though because I do play every weapon, but I want to force myself to main, or at least play through the majority of the main progression with a weapon that I normally don't use. Because I don't like falling back. Yeah, but I actually want to clear the game, so I want a weapon that does damage. So,
Why you gotta do me dirty like that?
I'm a
Gaijin?
busy man. I mean, they prepare that 50-minute timer for a reason, right?
I'm a busy man. I don't want to use the 50-minute timer every time, right? So every now and then I can't play Gunland so that I don't have to use up the whole time.
I mean, Gunlance is actually, I enjoyed Gunlance more than Lance and Rise.
Yes.
I thought that was really fun.
Rise, it was so.
And that's coming from someone that used to love Lance way more. Like, that tells you how Lance got done dirty, in my opinion. Lance, I don't think is very good in Rise at all.
Well, it became too spammy. Like, the balance was bad, so that forward their double thrust, Silkbind, whatever it is, a slingshot. It's too powerful. So basically, the most efficient way to play is to just spam that over and over again.
Eesh.
It's hard to aim at first, but once you get used to it, you're like, okay, this is broken. This is really strong.
So Arekkz, did you end up maining Sword and Shield throughout most of your time in Rise, or no? Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. Literally, like almost the whole thing. I mean, like again, still like dabbling in all the other ones, obviously to like make tutorials and stuff. But like, yeah, I basically like played through. Or I normally do that for like the main ones, obviously just like playing through because then I can put all my materials into one weapon for the time being. So so Sword and Shield is definitely still like, although I do like the idea of like dabbling something different for a bit, like I still just love Sword and Shield so much. So like, and the fact that we got Destroyer Oil is already exciting. Like hopefully there'll be like more stuff as well. So I am 100% just gonna like main that till I get sort of through to the end, and then I'll sort of like come back and see what the other things have to say.
So you're planning on doing the same thing for Sunbreak then? You're going to go for Sword and Shield?
Oh, yes.
How about you, Ruri?
How hype?
You're going to finally leave the Gunlance?
Before that, how hype were you when you saw them just like, Destroyer Oil?
So, like, super excited. Like, that is... I mean, oils were so much fun before. Like, I love that whole mechanic. And obviously, although they're not like an item now, just seeing that is like super cool. Like, I think the flinch mechanic is super interesting, but it will definitely be cool. I was sort of chatting to 269 about this the other day as well. Like, it'd be cool, like, if there were, in the same way that sometimes you might have like armor skills that can kind of like augment your abilities to a degree, it'd be interesting to see whether there was like any weapon or like a rampage skill that was like, when activating Destroy Oil on this weapon, maybe it would change the property. Like, I would love it if they would do something like that. Like, it probably won't. It probably will still be like fixed as flinch. But imagine if it was like activate it on like Malzeno weapon and Destroy Oil becomes like life steal oil or something. Like, that would be super cool. But yeah, I am 100% gonna main that because, like, and I want to sort of see what that new combo's like as well. The one they spoke about, like the elemental one, because again, if it mixes up like the bog standard bread and butter combo we've been using for years, like, I'm all for it.
I think the elemental combo is extremely important for Sword and Shield because in Rise, nobody used elements on Sword and Shield, whereas like you look at, for instance, Iceborne Element was way more viable because Perfect Rush did a lot of damage. So on certain monsters, you'd go Element, you'd go crazy. But in Rise, it feels like Elemental is worthless. Like I don't think I see anybody using the drill combo, for instance, which is something that I loved when I started playing Sword and Shield. It's an amazing combo, but nobody uses it because why? I mean, there's Shield Bash, which doesn't use sharpness, and at the same time, bashes monsters down harder than Hammer. Like, Hammer mains are looking at Shield Bash combo and crying. It's like, no! They took our germ.
No, it's true.
How about you, Ruri? What are you gonna still do your Gunlance?
I mean, I have to. It's my curse. It's my curse. I have Chaos Slayer over there on Twitter and on YouTube advocating for them to bring back Wyvern Stake Blast. And I'm like, no, don't do that. There's too much maintenance already with potentially protective polish and keeping up with ground splitter and all of these things just to make sure that we can deal, our standard damage, because otherwise you get nerfed 20%. It's so bad. Gunlance is painful, man. Gunlance is pain. But I've also been playing a little bit of Chargeblade recently on Rise just to test it out. I think Chargeblade is extremely fun. A lot of people are saying it's not good, and I understand what they're saying because it's not as good as World. It's definitely not as good as World, but I still think it's really friggin' good. It's really powerful, in my opinion. But yeah,
it definitely it did take a big hit. Like, it has been a bit shafted in Rise, but it's still a lot of fun. Like, I love the weapon. Like, I love some of the like the Silkbinds for it. Like, it's like let you have some disgustingly crazy flows, but like, the whole SAD spread damage thing seems to just be a bit out of whack. So like, maybe they can fix that and then like bring it back to grace because it is such a cool weapon. So I'm interested to sort of see what they're gonna do with that one.
Yeah, my theory, I'm still working on it mentally. I haven't worked through it, but my gut feeling is that the Charge Blade was designed in the era where things were more deliberate and a little bit more slower paced, and it was more about the wind up than it was like reactionary jumping around like a ninja. And I think it worked really well because of that. So a lot of the moves were like the double swipe with the A. Like you would use that because it had a very specific window and distance that if you were playing the positionings more than anything because of the speed. And I think it shined really well there. Like they turn around and boom in the head, like it worked out. Now it's like it's so easy to whiff because the weapon was designed for more slower combat, and now they've sped it up, and I think it's getting left behind. That's my theory, at least.
So out of all of the weapons, which one were you the most impressed with so far of the previews that we've gotten? We've gotten sword and shield, great sword, hammer, hunting horn was kind of released. I haven't seen it yet. Insect glaive, switch axe, and heavy
hunting
bowgun.
horn's really cool. I don't know whether you want like. Because I know if you're going to react to it, like, do you want to not talk about hunting horn?
It's fine. You can talk about it. I'll still won't understand until I actually see the video, right? I mean,
because they did this really cool thing basically, where like it's similar behavior to like hammer, in that you've got like a buff for it, but like it shares the same animation as impact crater, but instead at the end you kind of launch up, you come down, but then you stop and you buff your hunting horn, and then once it's buffed, every single hit you land, a second later it does a delayed second hit. So basically, like if you hit and you wait, and then does another hit, which does like massive impact damage and like part damage and stuff like that. So if you think about it in the context of like a regular combo, say you hit 3 times, that's actually 6 hits. So you factor that into the hunting horn spin where you stamp it down and go.
Oh god!
And basically you're just doubling up the hits. So now you just go buff. You go impact crater, you slide in, you go bam, 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 bam. Then you do your crazy encore where you're breakdancing and you spin. Like think about how many hits are in that already. That was already a KO monster. But you're just getting double hits now. It's just like, okay. So that looked kind of cool. And I'm not even like, I obviously I like hunting horn. I love what they did with it in Rise. And like I did enjoy using it. But I'm not a hunting horn main.
Yeah.
But seeing that, I'm like, whew, that does look kind of cool.
There's still a lot of people that didn't like the changes that came to Rise. Makes me a little bit sad for them because they're just like, oh, I like my weapon the way that it was. And then they completely change it. It's not as fun anymore. But it did bring a lot new players to the hunting horn, so there's that. I don't know. I don't know how to fix that part. What about you, Gaijin? Out of all of the ones that we've seen so far, which one impressed you the most of the weapon showcases? He's lost. I'll tell you what. I'll go first while you think about it.
Because my original gut reaction is the one that I was impressed and both not impressed by. It's just the one that catches me, like the insect glaive as well. It caught me off guard, but seeing the great sword and seeing the insect glaive, I had the same reaction, which is the rhythm is so different from what I know. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it's been a long time since I felt like I don't know what's going on. And so I was like, okay, this is definitely not for me. But like, whoa, okay, that's different.
That was the one that impressed me the most, was the greatsword. It's like we now just have a parry that we can do mid-charge, and that it basically goes into a true charge slash. And it's an unstoppable true charge slash, because if you parry in this manner, you cannot be stopped. So you literally get a parry into an unstoppable true charge slash. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That is super cool. I also like the I was actually really impressed with that, like the faster looking combo as well, because like again, I want to sort of like see how that plays out, but like greatsword has always been a very deliberate weapon anyway, but like if they do have sort of like a let's take this meaty weapon and suddenly you can attack, okay, you're not going to be like sword and shield or dual blade pace, but if you can attack fast with the greatsword, whew, that might actually be kind of cool.
And you don't even have
steal
to
me back.
Go ahead, Gaijin.
I'm sorry, this server is lagging.
Yeah,
today.
we're lagging today.
So when I started talking, there was no lag. We weren't talking yet, and then all of a sudden we're on top of each other. I'm like, ah! I come off as so rude. But no, they risk. I played a lot of dual blades in Rise, and if they go crazy with the dual blades this time, then they might get me back again, because I there's something about the animations and the flow of it. It feels so natural and so cool that I'm a little scared to see it.
You got
It'll take me in.
you have the new demonic whatever demon mode of what is it called? I forget, the flurry demon. I don't know, the new one. And then on top
it's
of it,
good.
you have that drill spinning thing where it's like
Oh,
that looks freaking wild as hell. Yeah. But I'm also extremely curious about that greatsword, the greatsword combo that you don't have to charge. Like, how the hell are you gonna do that? Like, that just sounds complete insanity. It was also cool to see the switch axe get a counter. It was one of the few weapons that still didn't have a counter, and the counter, which at the time I didn't know because I didn't check the website. I checked it afterwards, and the counter also just straight up amps your weapon. So, power files are looking at that and going like, that looks very interesting, because power files took forever to get into amped state. And I was just like, no, just counter once, get amped state, boom, done. Sounds good.
It's basically like Switch Axe was like, hey, Longsword, can I borrow your homework, please? Because it's the same thing as like you go in at the beginning and you just get like gauge straight away. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, but I know what you mean. Like, I like that. Like, it's all about the over the top anime. Like, just they want you to play hella aggressive. They just want to be like, run towards it, get this counter, you're already ready to go. But one of the other ones that like I think is interesting, I'm just interested in it because I want to do one of those sort of like tests where, obviously they spoke about heavy bowgun, which has kind of got the crouching shot, which is reminiscent of obviously Valor Stance, but then they spoke about the setting sun. I want to know, if we get 4 hunters and we line up 4 setting suns and we fire through it, are we going to get stacking bonuses? And are we going to be able to like get like ridiculous like
one pair shot does 30 hits. Oh my god!
Exactly. Please, Capcom, like, especially if you're dialing up the anime, please say you've thought about that, like, and let us do that, because I think it'll just be funny to watch. Like, you'll get someone to trap it, everyone will line up, get like perfectly placed, like setting suns, quickly crouch up, line up for like a sniper shot or something. Like, it's gotta happen.
That sounds like Chris from Team Darkside right now is going.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
That sounds mighty nice. That sounds mighty nice. Me and my 3 friends, we have something that we want to do to this monster. We don't think he's gonna like it.
How to
It's
kill a
true.
Malzeno in one clip. It's like,
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know that Gaijin is going to be playing mostly on probably exclusively on Switch, because you have all those memories with Yuna and stuff, and it just makes it easier for you guys. What about you, Arekkz? Which platform are you going for with Sunbreak?
I have finally made the switch, as much as like it's taken a little while. Like, I'm a like massive Switch fan, obviously. Like, generally speaking, like, I'm happy playing on it, but like, it's just from like a content point of view, it's kind of just a little bit easier to record on PC, and like the team would just like, it would just make a bit more sense anyway. So we've been doing the long grind of kind of just like getting, like, obviously just getting at least like Sunbreak ready. I'm definitely not going to like, not in any way going to sort of match what I had before, but like at least if I can get to the point where, because largely speaking, apart from things like talisman, like armor and weapons I can leave behind because I'm going to get G rank stuff anyway, or master rank stuff anyway. So yeah, it's been like, I love Monster Hunter, but I'm not someone that just likes to replay through stuff. Like, I just never do. So like, it's the same thing in World. Like, I dabbled in PC just to sort of test it out, but I never caught up because I just don't want to. But it will probably make sense from a content point of view. So yeah, we're going to be playing Sunbreak on PC.
Gaijin, no, you're in an island.
well, people realize I generally don't play online anyways. I've always enjoyed Monster Hunter as a solo experience, and also now that I've got Yuna, like, 2 player is perfect. So
I'm still gonna level up a character on Switch to eventually play with you and Yuna. So don't worry about it.
That'll be fun.
I'll do it so that we can spend like an afternoon where
Shenanigans,
we do the fighting and the training with the hammers and whatnot, and Yuna beats everybody because that's the way that it goes.
I will say
What's
that
what happened?
we're carrying that over to Final Fantasy. I think we use more emotes than the average player during a hunt.
You definitely do.
We have whole hotbars dedicated to emotes, and we have some really funny ones. We get a kick out of using them, and we have with the stamps. We have so many stamps that we've made. We just goofing around. Some of my best memories is still us doing Iceborne and constantly stealing the aggro from each other from Safajiva.
Oh no!
Everyone's sitting there having like a real serious battle. Me and her are pegging it in the face with rocks every time we get a chance, so we can steal the aggro. It loves me more.
That's amazing.
So, what are we looking at in terms of your favorite character in Elgato so far, Arekkz?
Ooh. Okay. So like, so obviously, Admiral Gallius because he's got a beard. And I'm telling you right now, if we don't have good beards in the game and they've got Admiral Gallius, I'm gonna be very, very. I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 10 IGN in my review.
It is a problem.
Not something for everybody.
It's exactly. It's unacceptable. So like, he definitely sounds cool. I like Jay having now read his profile because he goes to the gym and doesn't miss a day of training. So now he gets my respect. Before I was like, he's just regular, just like,
Ace
anime
Cadet
dude who's just be more
whatever.
Ace Cadet dude. I was like, I don't care about him. But I was like, well, now he goes to the gym. Now we're best friends. So, probably one of those two.
He's also secretly. It's interesting that you said those two characters because it says here he's also obsessed with Admiral Gallius to the point of secretly copying his hairstyle, which you can't do, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll be honest. This is the first time I realized he was a boy. I thought he was a girl.
Ah.
Oh. Okay.
I like the buff girls, I guess.
Oh man, for me, it's like, listen, when it comes to waifus, it's Manale. Manale is my favorite waifu, and when it comes to characters, I mean, Manale is the blacksmith.
Oh yes.
I wish we had a follow request with her. She could come around with her little smithing hammer and beat things down. Like, that'd be fine.
That would be amazing.
But my favorite character is obviously Master Arlo because he uses a gun lance. I mean, it's that simple. He's the best. 269 even changed this profile to Admiral.
It just looks like 26. It looks like old 26. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you can't do that unless you main gun lance. That's how that works. I don't make the rules. Them's the rules.
Rurikhan, the gun lance gatekeeper.
Exactly. I even made it hashtag gatekeep Greg just to kind of like make it like I'm gatekeeping this weapon.
Oh dear.
Well, Furion for me.
Yeah,
it's definitely Furion for me.
She's a sword and shield user though, so she gets my approval.
Yes.
Yep. Her and Minato, the three of us, the adventures we'll have.
The actual best follower, I think, is going to be Furion. No, actually, no, because Master Arlo is also a follower. Never mind. Master Arlo is a follower. He's the best one. Straight up. He's got a gun lance. And if you've seen what his gun lance looks like?
It looks real.
That sounds really kinky. Have you seen what his gun lance looks like? No. Oh my god. When it opens up for the blast. Oh.
Stop.
Explosive climaxes.
No, but it's like it is. I think it is the best looking gun lance I've ever seen in a Monster Hunter game. It's really good.
Which when you get it and it's not the shell type you want, it'd be like level 1 shelling or like level 1 wide.
I think in Rise it would only bother me if it was normal shelling because I can play either long or wide in Rise. I actually been really enjoying wide. The poke shell poke play style is brutal because you can basically get on a monster's face and just not leave because you have guard reload. So you go like poke when he's about to attack, guard reload, and you also get your stake back. So it's like poke, stake, guard reload. It's such an aggressive. It doesn't deal that much damage, but it's an incredibly aggressive playstyle because you can just be on top of the monster all the time and just not leave. Just stay there, keep blocking, boom, block. It's great. I freaking love it. I've been addicted to it. I still love
my normal. Normal is the only one that I play.
No, normal is like
I'm just the full burst.
Full burst. Yeah,
good.
So you've been playing a lot with the Arachna Lance then if you play normal because that's like the best one.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
I don't think I did too much in the end, but yeah. I think probably, I can't remember which one I was using before, but yeah, I didn't spend too much time with gun lance until, of course, I got like the blast dash, and I was like,
blast dash is the best.
It's the best thing. I miss every time. I don't actually ever get to use it like legitimately in a hunt, and I'm probably quite useless in a hunt when I'm doing it, but I'm having a time of my life.
Now listen, here's how you have to do it, okay? I'm going to teach you a trick, which is the secret gun lance playstyle that nobody uses because it deals no damage, but it's so much fun. It's the most fun playstyle in the whole game. And that is you get a long shelling gun lance because long shelling has the best wyvern fire, right? So you get long shelling, and then you go up to the monster, wyvern fire, to get the wyvern fire on cooldown. And then when the monster eventually moves away, or even if it doesn't move away, blast dash into the monster. When you get to the monster, I forget which button it is. I think it's circle. If it's not circle, it's the right trigger. But basically start aerial shelling in the middle of the air. And when you run out of shells, hail cutter. So he'll reload mid-air, come down, slam, burst, and reduce the gauge on Wyvern Fire so that you can Wyvern Fire again. It's really fun, but it's
amazing.
not very effective because no ground splitter
All
means
that work
20%.
for just 1 damage.
You know, that's what my friends tell me. They're like, man, I watch your videos and dude, it looks amazing when you're playing Gunlance and then you parry and you do all these crazy things. And then when you do your counter and it says like 5. It's because it's like a tick
you know what the new comedy thing in like Sunbreak is gonna be like, you'll do this setup, you'll do these like 1,000,000 moves, maximum anime mode, and it'll be like, yes, I hit for 100 damage. And then the insect glaive used to be like, catch my kinsect, bam, and it's like 5,000 damage.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
It'd probably be like the friggin' longsword just goes in. You do all of these crazy things. The longsword guy goes in. Helm splitter.
Ching.
Oh, I mean, what is it? Owarida shindeiru.
Oh yeah.
It's just like done.
That is so true.
I hope, from a character standpoint, I hope they do what they did with what's her name, Dango Girl. Why is my brain? I'm really sleep deprived.
McDongo's
Yomogi. Yeah, Yomogi is just like, oh, I'm gonna join the hunt. Excuse me, as I whip out this heavy bow gun, you know, and it was really funny. I want to see Chiche. I want to see her at the very end whip out like this gigantic switch axe, because she's switching between two roles, right? She's a princess, but she's also the guild receptionist. It's the switch, you know. It's kind of a joke, and like have her go like zhong, and the thing's like double her size. I think that would be
that would be hilarious.
She just
if only Gallius hadn't taken a greatsword, she should have had a greatsword. Like,
I can hunt too.
Yeah, I'm helping.
And they do like custom animation, so she's like running and the sword's dragging behind her, like leaving a trail. Yes. She's like, boom.
That would be amazing.
And when she lands it, you see like the splitting wyvern shot animation. For no reason. It's like when Chi-Chi lands the greatsword hit, wyvern, splitting wyvern shot, whatever. Oh, man. So I'm
excited to see more goofy stuff to do with the animals. I had a really fun idea that they'll never do, which is, you know how we have that really awesome wyvern shot thing, like the rampage, like
the splitting wyvern shot. That's literally what I was talking about.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you can put your palico inside of it and launch it?
I hope PETA's not watching this podcast.
Maybe there's a whole new map they haven't revealed yet, and you get to it by climbing in the cannon, and it fires you to the moon. It's like Monster Hunter on the moon, and then there's zero gravity wirebug action. So we're just like,
oh man, testing out the new underwater with wirebugs.
Oh dear.
Gaijin just wants to fire palicos from a cannon. Confirmed. It's just like, just put a palico.
Hey, the more goofy they get, the better. So.
Oh man, but yeah, we're all pretty excited about the eventual release of Sunbreak. We're gonna be continuing to cover like all of the stuff. You guys can find Arekkz's links in the description of this video if you guys want to check him out. Arekkz, any parting words?
Sword and Shield is the greatest weapon of all time, and if you are not playing it in Sunbreak, then you are playing the game wrong. Please fix what you're doing. Sell all your other weapons to make money to purchase your upgrade to Sword and Shield. You have a great time.
Yeah, that's what it works. The Sword and Shield ambassador
has been brought to you by, is sponsored by Furane.
This message is sponsored by Furane. Yeah.
And if you want to watch the audio version of this podcast, you can find it on swordandshieldfans.com.
Sweet and sour, right? SNS.
Yeah. Hey, very true.
Sweet and sour. Now, I just one of the things that I just really hope that they end up doing a little bit. It's going to be hard because they don't make major shifts like this when it comes to G rank expansions. But I really do hope that they put in more of an effort for Elemental, especially when it comes to Sword and Shield. Because Sword and Shield's great, but there's very few reasons to use anything other than like Rampage, Tigrex, and High Ninja. High Ninja being obviously one of the best weapons in the whole goddamn game because it just has 100% crit. But why? Because it's a ninja sword.
Exactly. Because
it's a ninja sword. It's just that simple.
and no shield, so you're punching monsters in the face, which is the coolest thing in the world.
So, Gaijin, what is on everybody's minds in regards to you right now is when are you going to do your next Monster Hunter video on your channel?
When am I going to come out of quasi-retirement? Because I'm not retired. I plan to make lots of videos. It's just I am prioritizing, and right now I'm just having the time of my life with my daughter and Final Fantasy. And this game's not out, but it's looming. It's coming, and I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it.
You need to make a video for it today, okay, Gaijin? That's your homework. I'm giving you a homework. No, okay, sorry.
I can't.
Listen, guys, I tried. Okay, look, I tried. I do my best.
I think once they finish all the weapon previews, I think I'm gonna do one video of good length where I sort of gather my thoughts. A girthy one.
A girthy video.
A girthy video. Yeah, I think I'll do one that sort of, I'll analyze the hell out of it and then try to come up with some consolidated thoughts instead of just reactionary stuff. And
you criticizing my content? Is that what you're doing?
No, you guys are making me feel like I don't. This is great. I could just consume your videos, and I feel like I've gotten all the official stuff, and now I can just focus on FF.
All right.
Easy one. There we go.
Okay.
One does not power level without focus, so I'm a little focused at the moment.
Yes. As per usual, I'm going to do the outro, and then I'm going to pass it off to you, Arekkz. So, guys, thank you all very much for watching. Like I said, links to everybody in the comment section down below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe.
And grab your sword and shield, because it's the greatest weapon of all time.